Hello and welcome to another episode of When We Are Healed. I'm super excited to have my dear friend and sister Neda Boin on our show today. Neda is an award-winning singer-songwriter and voice liberator who uses music to help us remember and extend the love we truly are. Neda travels all around the globe to give retreats, workshops, and healing concerts. And her work is deeply rooted in the non-dual teachings of A Course in Miracles. I first met Neda several years ago in New York City when a mutual friend of ours, Corinne Zapko, invited me to go see Neda's concert. This was when I think she had just come out with her album called The Light Has Come, which features these gorgeous songs that were inspired by workbook lessons from A Course in Miracles. And I was just blown away, not only by Neda's beautiful, soulful voice and music that brought me to tears, but also the way she was really embodying, living the teachings of A Course in Miracles, being so devoted to true forgiveness and putting spirit in charge, especially at such a young age. And today, she's here to talk about using the voice for healing and emotional release. We also talked about Neda's personal journey from a rising pop star to giving over her voice to spirit for healing as she discovered A Course in Miracles. We also went into the powerful voice liberation workshops that she's giving all over the world. And I also shared my own experience with her workshop, which was extremely transformative. And finally, we have a special song from her new album, Winds of Change, to share with you at the end of the episode. So let's dive into our conversation with Neda Boin. Neda, dear sister, thank you so much for coming onto the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. So good to see you again. It's been so long.
It has been so long. Oh, so many of us know you as many of us know you from initially from your beautiful album Light Has Come that was inspired by our Course in Miracles. And I just can't put into words how beautiful and powerful your voice is and how much how powerful music can be in just bypassing the thinking mind and just going straight to our heart. And your album, The Light Has Come, was for me such a big part of what helped me take in the course through the heart instead of the head. And so first I want to thank you for that. And I will start by asking you maybe where you were on your journey before the course came into your life and how did it come into your life and transform you?
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that my music did that for you, I think that's also really one of the biggest things why Spirit has inspired me to be on this journey as a singer, teacher using music, because I don't even really feel so identified with being a singer anymore, but really using music as a way to give people an experience of what A Course in Miracles is teaching, because I think it's so common for students to be in their head. It's such a thick book, and I think Helen Schuckman even called it right, like finally a spiritual pathway for intellectuals. And I think it's a very sort of like smart trick from the ego to have us not go into the heart and into really feeling the teachings and to just stay in the head, because then it's still kind of safe. Where music, like you said, it's a way to really bypass that thinking mind, and really bring us into our feelings, bring us into the experience where God is. God is not into in these pages. It's really in the experience and really feeling it. So I'm so happy that my music and my work is supporting people to go really from the head into the heart. And that I think also answers where I was before Course in Miracles. Very, very much suppressing my feelings, even though I did feel a lot, but it felt, I think for me, I just hadn't learned yet to really give space to my emotions. So also in my family, I think for a lot of people, they didn't learn to really deal with uncomfortable emotions, right? And so my joy that was very natural, very present as well, that I felt was very easy to share. I was always making jokes and the performer, and the sunshine of the house was definitely my nickname. But of course, there was also sadness and discomfort. And I used to be very homesick as a little child, even being at home. I didn't understand why I was feeling so homesick. And it's only when A Course in Miracles came on my path that I realized like I was actually yearning for my true home. I was yearning for God. So after the course found me, which is when I was 20, it came on my path. It came from a deep cry within that I want to know what love is. I really said that out loud. Like I want to know what love is. This moment. And of course, the miracle came on my path, and I remember just seeing it in the library, and I took it out of the shelf and I held it against my heart, and I literally hugged the book, and I said like, this is going to change my life forever. I just knew it. I knew that whatever was in the book was gonna change my life, and it really did. And especially how it eventually, because in the beginning my music career and A Course in Miracles was still very much separate. I remember that my first Course in Miracles teacher in Rotterdam, she guided these small study groups, where we would look at a certain lesson and practice together. And when she heard that I was a singer, she asked me like, "Oh, are you maybe gonna like start singing Course in Miracles lessons?" And I remember laughing, like, "Yeah, sure." Like I would never do that. Like that's so not cool, Like that's not going to make it to the hit charts. So I was still very much in this identity of being a pop singer, and my spirituality was always very present, but it was separate from what I was doing in my music. And so when those two came together, after I really channeled the light has come, which is something that consciously I didn't ask for, but subconsciously, of course, I did. There was apparently a much deeper desire in my heart to use my voice for healing and use my voice to be of service to God. So when those songs came to me in 2 weeks, and they every day there was just another Course in Miracles song that was channeled through me. In the beginning, there was a lot of resistance, because I still had this deep identity of being this pop singer that wanted to make it big. And it was only when not too long after that, actually, I was in The Voice, the TV show. I think I showed you the blind audition. It's really there. I think I really needed that sort of platform of glitter and glamour and the sort of the big spotlights to sort of taste of what that was like, and also to feel that it would never fulfill my deepest desire, which was really using my voice for awakening. And so after that experience, I really surrendered myself and surrendered my voice to God. Actually, literally standing there on stage, there was like a particular moment where it was like time just stood still for a moment, and I was on stage. There were like millions of people watching me live. There were thousands of people in the audience. I was wearing this fancy designer dress, and my hair and makeup was all done, and the judges were giving me feedback of my performance. And I just looked around and I saw like the purpose. What is the purpose? You know, the purpose, everything here, the purpose is only to just get the most votes and get the most money. And it felt so empty. And that was the moment where it clicked for me. Like, I want the purpose for my voice to be to remember and to extend the love that I am, you know? So it's really right there, even though I didn't really knew yet what I was doing, but looking back, I was really consciously saying, like, okay, God, you got me. Like, Spirit, you got me. Like, I'm gonna put you in charge and give my voice to you. And when I'm out of here, I'll make a CD out of your songs, you know? So that was really the beginning of me surrendering my voice to God. And it definitely took a few years for me to let go of this idea that that was a sacrifice. You know, in the beginning, there was still this idea that I was sort of like sacrificing my own um, desire to be a pop singer for sort of like to wear this heavy cross on my back, you know, to be the martyr and be like, okay, God, I'll do your mission, you know, and as if that was like, yeah, a sacrifice for me. Like the ego sees, you know, forgiveness as a sacrifice. And now I can clearly see it was never a sacrifice, you know, because my life transformed in ways that I couldn't even imagine back then. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for everything that unfolded from me saying yes to spirit and me giving my voice over to spirit, you know. So now there's this full yes. I'm like in the full yes and so happy to be of service, to use my voice for God. The whole desire to be this famous pop star is completely dissolved, honestly. Like even just the concerts, um, I'm still happy to do it, but where my real passion lies is really in the retreats and the workshops and the sessions that I give where I really guide people to use their own voice to release subconscious blocks to love's presence. So that's seeing that transformation in front of my eyes is something that I get super excited about. Um, and so yeah, I'm like I said, I'm in the full yes, and I go where I'm invited, and my own practice with A Course in Miracles has deepened so much because of that as well. Because, like you said, it helps you to move from your head into the heart, and it's been doing that for me as well. Every retreat that I give, it brings that healing for me as well. You know, everything I teach is what I'm learning, and I fully channel all of my sessions, all of my retreats. So often there's things that come out of my mouth that I'm like, wow, this is really for me. You know, I think it's all for me, but it's yeah, like you just said, you know, we're when we're healed, we're not healed alone. You know, we really walk each other home. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now. So full gratitude and full willingness to serve and be led. Yeah.
Ah, thank you so much, Neda. I'm getting like goosebumps listening to
Mm,
your share about that moment of being on stage and like something clicking in you about the emptiness, the
yeah.
hollowness of it, and realizing what your true heart's desire was and what your true calling was. And I would love to talk about your voice liberation workshops for a little bit because I've experienced it myself in in New York City several years ago. And for those of you who are listening, I tend to be very easily emotional in many settings, but Neda's voice liberation workshop was probably the most tears I've shed in a single hour or 2 hours. I was just like nonstop floodgate, like the floodgates opened of tears, and I was just weeping in joy and gratitude.
and feeling everything the entire time. And I'm going to do my best to describe my experience in that because so Neda, I love that you said you felt called to use your voice for awakening and that it wasn't about you becoming this, amazing pop star, but like assisting others to come into that journey and doing it together. And one of the exercises or experiences I remember so strongly from your workshop is um, partnering up with another brother or sister and looking into their eyes and you playing the piano and singing in the background and we're invited to just like let our voice out in however way it wants to come out as we look into the other person's eye. And it's it's just like words can't describe how powerful that felt to me. And I could feel the energy of the room. There was like I wasn't the only one crying from beginning to end. Like pretty much everybody was crying from beginning to end because it was just so powerful. And I would say that those 2 hours or how many ever hours we spent together probably moved more energy than like 10 years of therapy for many of us because
Wow.
it was just that again from the head straight like out of the head straight into our heart to the part of us that knows that there's only love here, the part of us that knows that each one of us is perfect, whole, and complete, the part of us that knows that our nature is pure innocence. Like, and your workshops really help us tap into that and drop into that space, not by trying hard, but through your presence and your music and your voice. And it's done in such a loving and organic and gentle and powerful way. So anyway, that was my raving on Neda's workshop. But I would love to hear you talk about your experience with voice liberation, how that came about, and how that's been evolving for you as you've been giving these workshops over the years.
Yeah, wow. I'm so happy to hear you experienced it like that. So beautiful. Yeah, it's very often that people shed a lot of tears, often in the beginning of like grief and just like blockages that are coming up and suppressed emotions. And usually at the end of the workshop or retreat, it's like tears of laughter. It's very often that people sometimes even at the same time they'll like cry and laugh at the same time at some point they don't know like am I crying or am I laughing? And it just yeah it usually all ends in laughter, like awakening does, we will first dream of peace and then awaken to it. So for me, yeah, the voice liberation, it came on my path when I was actually studying for my bachelor's of music. So I was very young and it was in the second year of conservatory of music where I just felt like the joy that I felt as a kid singing was just I couldn't tap into that anymore. The conservatory was so in, in our head and so about performing, about doing it in a particular way and getting a grade for singing, which is, supposed to be such a natural and freeing thing. Now, I think it often happens when art is being sort of like squished into a degree, and now it has to um, have all of these rules and expectations. And so for me, I really felt like I lost um, I lost the connection with my inner voice, basically, which is also the meaning of my name, funnily enough. In Persian, my name means inner voice. So I lost my Neda. And then this 2 years Voice Liberation Academy came on my path. And I had read about it before, like already years before, and it was just so beautiful how, it already caught my mind, but I wasn't ready for it. So it's like, oh yeah, nice, but I didn't look it up. And again, a year later, oh yeah, nice, but not yet. And then I remember I had one of those tier calendars, like one a day. And on one of the days, it wrote something about this voice liberation stuff. And I remember just saving it and I put it somewhere on the shelf. And it was really like one of those magical moments that this day where I was like really feeling like I don't even know if I want to be a singer anymore, if I really want to go on with this study. And literally from the shelf, like magic, like the paper from that calendar, it just fell out of the shelf and it fell down. And I went and looked at it and was like, okay, now it's time. I have to look it up. So I went to the website and I read about the academy and I just instantly knew like, I have to do this. And I was 19 then, I think, or 20. So it was like right around the same time that A Course in Miracles came on my path. So I think it complemented each other perfectly. But because of course, the course is asking us to go within and to really look inward and to not seek for love because that's who we are, but to seek and find all the barriers within ourselves that we placed against the love that we are. But I was so used to suppressing my emotions that I think Spirit knew very well that in order for me to really experience the course, knowing how much I was already attracted to music, that the voice liberation would be the perfect way to actually get me to look inward and to stop suppressing. And so I started the Voice Liberation Academy not at all in my mind with any sort of like spiritual motive. Like it was all about like I just want to be free on stage again. Like it was all for me being a singer. And it was a 2 years academy. The first year was really about finding your own inner voice, and the second year was about teaching. I was not at all interested in teaching. I talked my way out of the internship. I was I was not interested. I just wanted to sing myself, So I never really did anything with it until after 3 years. This good friend of mine and Course in Miracles teacher as well, David Hoffmeister. I think you might know him as well. He was giving a month-long retreat called the Tabula Rasa retreat in Ojai. And when I read about the retreat, I just felt so inspired. And in my meditation, it was so clear, like you have to teach voice liberation in his retreats. And even though at that point I hadn't teach in any retreats, I had done some one-on-ones, also during the academy, I did had to do a few sort of teaching things, but I didn't do any workshops or retreats or anything, but it was so clear, like I have to teach voice liberation. And he felt it as well. So he flew me over. And I think what was so good is that because I didn't really knew what I was doing, even though, of course, I had the tools and I had studied for 2 years. So, of course, somewhere I had my equipment. But like really teaching it like that, I didn't really know the structure. I wasn't really prepared. And I think that was the best thing because I used to be so arrogant, basically, of like thinking I know everything. I know what's best. I know how to do it. I was always like, I got it. I got it. I got it. So Spirit had no room in my life to really lead me because it was always like, no, Spirit, I know better. I know what's best. Like you sit down. So I think because now I had no idea, the only thing I could do was put Spirit in charge. And it wasn't even like super consciously that I knew like, oh, it's a good thing. Like now I know the best thing I can do in life with anything is put Spirit in charge. I'm giving a mini retreat in Japan actually next month. And the title is Let Love Lead, you know, so it's all about, you know, how to put spirit in charge, how to let love lead. And back then, it wasn't conscious like that, like, oh yeah, that's something you should really do. It was just, I did it because I didn't know what else to do, you know. It was more like a desperate a desperate thing of like, spirit, please help me. um and because of that, for the first time ever, I mean, I already, ever since I was a child, I had like very psychic moments, and I could definitely, like, I was already very sensitive, you know, and very intuitive. But what I experienced in those first sessions, like, I never experienced it like that before, that it would be the voice that would guide me and would be crystal clear. Like, I would literally hear word for word what I had to say, what I had to do, what I had to play. It was so obvious, like, really, it, all I had to do was follow. And the most amazing miracles like unfolded right in front of my eyes. These sessions were incredible. And they even turned out, it was also meant to be that I was there as well. You know, I didn't even know that they were shooting a documentary, and the voice liberation sessions actually became a huge part of the documentary. Even the title, Take Me Home, came from a song that I wrote just 2 weeks before I came there. They didn't have a title for the movie yet, and when I played the song, they were like, "That's the title of the movie, you know. That's what we're gonna use." And um, so it was so given, and for me, it also was like, "Oh wow, this is really cool. This is really powerful," and it really gave me a lot of trust in spirit, because that whole, for 2 weeks, every day I did a few sessions, and every time again I saw that the guidance, even though it was sometimes going against what I would think was good, you know. There's a beautiful session that I gave in that retreat that I actually have on my YouTube channel, and it's with a guy that had a lot of suppressed anger, and he came to me and he was singing like, I want to trust, you know, I want to trust. But you could clearly hear that it wasn't authentic, that he was hiding his real emotions. And I heard the guidance so clearly, like, ask him to sing I Don't Trust. And I remember that in my mind, there was this little debate going on with me and spirit of like, no, I can't ask that. Like, that's not a spiritual question. You know, that's not spiritual to say, like, I don't trust. Like, are you sure? And, you know, so in the beginning, I was still building that trust with that inner voice, you know. But it was so clear. It was like, no, ask him to sing I Don't Trust. And you can see, for the people listening, I would really encourage you to go find that video on my YouTube channel. It's not a very old video. Um, and you'll see instantly what happens the moment that he gets invited to sing I Don't Trust, because that was his honest experience, and he was suppressing that. So the moment that he was able to sing I Don't Trust, and that was okay, you know, it was okay to not trust, like, that thought was welcome. He didn't have to hide that anymore. He didn't have to suppress it. It was just welcome, and it could be, wow, like, you instantly see and hear the shift in his voice. And the moment that that was allowed to be there, then there was space for what was underneath, which was, but I want to trust, you know. Then there was that space. And that's what we do in my workshops, in my sessions, in my retreats, is we give voice, we express, we release through our voice all those grievances, all those blockages. We often do things in pairs. Like, I just did a retreat in Holland where we did a powerful session with the mother and the father wound, where we did something in pairs, where you would sit in front of your mother. Like, it wouldn't be your real mother unless you were there with your mother, of course, but that was not the case this time. So you would just pair up with someone and they would be your mother. And at first you were invited to just in words, while the other held space for you, to just in words release whatever grievances, past hurt, anything, any unsaid words, anything you're still held resentment for, or anything, maybe also loving things that you didn't get to say to your mom because she already passed away, or whatever it was. Anything, you let it come up to the surface and you release it in words. And your mother, or your partner in that exercise, just held space. It doesn't talk back, only receives. And after 15 minutes or so of like just clearing all of that debris and just in words, I would start playing the piano and invite them to release whatever they shared in sound. And that's where you could see that the anger, the grief, the sadness, the sorrow, the whatever it was, could really be expressed through sound. So this is not about singing beautifully. It's not about performing. It's really about just like releasing really from the core, the depth of your core, whatever was still stuck. And then next, I allowed them to write on a piece of paper in their journal what they really longed to hear from their mother. And they would give it to their mother and the partner that sort of symbolized their mother. And they would say that to them, like repeatedly, while looking in their eyes. And you get to really just receive the miracle and let their words sort of like wash away all of those grievances, all of those blockages. And so it was so powerful. I actually joined this exercise. So I myself was crying so much, and so much came up, so much was released. But this is often what we do. We first release in words. And there's more retreats I've been to that have done similar work like this, where they will release in words and sort of like diet exercises. But the thing with this is that when we only stay there, I I see what happens when you next express in sound and you let go of the words, you go so much deeper. Because just expressing in words can be really helpful, and it can be super helpful to actually express things that you've been ashamed of, or that you've been suppressing or hiding, or been angry about but didn't dare to share. That can be super helpful. But the words still keep us in the intellectual mind. They still don't really bring us into where that pain, that grievance lives in our body. But as soon as we integrate the body with expression, with movement, we really get into that core, that muddy essence of what you're talking about, and release it in a way that words alone can just simply not do. So I think this is a very critical point that a lot of people, when they do this kind of work, that they're missing, and they're staying, even though it can be very healing, you still stay stuck in a certain layer of your release. And there's a part that really wants to be heard, that when you do that through sound, it's so much more powerful. It's really so much more powerful. And the good news is that anyone can do this, because everyone has a voice. And the thing with the voice too is that it has been suppressed, especially in the Western culture. It has been suppressed so much, and every little child knows how to use their voice for healing. They all do it. But soon enough, right, we'll hear to be quiet, we'll hear to behave, to be a good girl, be a good boy. And most of us forgot how to use that voice for healing. And now we only use the voice maybe to sing happy birthday, to sing maybe a Christmas song. Maybe in the car, you're still like singing along to your favorite song or whatever. But really, this authentic expression that we used to do as babies, and very, very small kids, because we unlearned this very young. Most of us forgot about, but it's so easy to get back in touch with that. You see that in my retreats and my workshops, even the first meditation, when I invite people again and I give them permission to use their voice in this way, it's so quickly that people open up again and they're surprised by the power of their own voice. And yeah, it's so it's whew, I can talk about this for days because I'm so passionate about it, and it's just so beautiful to see, and the combination with the Course of Miracles, it's yeah, it's just so powerful. It's truly transformative.
It really is so powerful. And I'm so excited to hear more about the retreat you're offering in the new year,
Yeah.
where the participants will get to experience this in person. Can you tell us a little bit about the upcoming retreat?
Yeah, there's more things coming up. So next month is November. I'm going to Bali. That retreat is already fully booked, but I'm going to do the Bali retreat and then do Japan. There's going to be a mini retreat there. It's going to be in English and translated into Japanese. I don't know if you also have your Japanese friends listening or anyone that is by any chance in Japan this November, you can check it out on my website. Beautiful and beautiful crowd. Like I don't, I was there last year for the first time, and I don't think I've ever cried so much during a workshop because it was just so touching. I've never seen a crowd be so ready to do this work. I don't know, I think you know a lot more about this, of course, but it felt like decades of and like lifetimes of suppressed emotion and trauma that the people that were there, like I felt I didn't even have to do anything, like just being there and for them to have the permission to let their voice be heard again. It was literally the easiest thing ever. Like it was almost like I only had to play one note and everyone was instantly like, "Wah!" Like just like opening up their like they were so ready. And like their readiness and like seeing how instantly they got into it, into the like grief. I would just the anguish, like that I like it ripped my heart apart. Like it I was just sobbing. And like I said a little earlier on, that workshop as well, like it started with everybody just weeping and crying and screaming. And at the end of the workshop, we were all just laughing out loud, And I remember there was one girl that said that, she had been trying to kill herself so many times and she finally felt why she needed to be alive. She finally felt the joy of being alive and of wanting to be alive. It was such a beautiful young woman. And yeah, it was I'm so excited to come back there, because it was yeah, it's so powerful. So that's gonna happen the end of November. And then my first big retreat is gonna be in Florida. So I'm coming back to the US. I haven't been to Florida in quite some time. I think the last time was with my summer tour in 2022. So I'm excited to come back. It's gonna be right on the beach where the Truman Show was recorded in February. It's gonna be a short week. I think 5 nights, 6 days in total. So it's a pretty long retreat. So we really get a chance to dive in deep. And I think it's so cool that it's going to be right where the Truman Show was recorded because that was one of my favorite movies. And I remember, watching that movie when I was a kid, far before, of course, the miracles found me. And I remember just being so taken by that concept of like, oh my God, what if like my whole life is a movie? Like, what if this? I remember like kind of like looking around like for the cameras, and like, is this a setup? Like, is this real? Like, is my life even real? So I think that movie was like the first time seeing that movie was like the first time that I really started sort of like letting in this concept, like what if it's all a setup, what if it's none of it is truly real, So I mean, yeah, amazing movie, and it's yeah, it's we've called it the Awakening from the Dream Retreat. So I think it's gonna be yeah, so inspiring to have it where that movie was shot. It's going to be right on the beach. And I'm doing it with a dear friend of mine, Rieko. I don't know if you've met her as well. You haven't. No, it's a beautiful, beautiful friend of mine, long-term course student, course teacher. She has a beautiful channel where she uses tarot cards actually in combination with A Course in Miracles to really channel messages from the spirit. And yeah, she's such a beautiful, beautiful soul. And she's gonna give her sessions and also cook her home cooked meal. So it's gonna be very intimate. It's only we're staying in a villa together, and it's only going to be, I think, max 14 or 15 people. So it's going to be really small and intimate. Um, so yeah, if people feel the call, then this is definitely for the people in the US, that you don't have to travel all the way to Holland, because the next retreat after that will be in Holland, will be in April. So if you want to be a little bit closer to home, I invite you to come to the February one. And yeah, it's always so incredibly transformative, and every time different. I have a lady, such a beautiful, beautiful sister. She just came to my 10th retreat, so she has done 10 retreats already with me. She's been to Bali 3 times. She's just coming again this this November to Bali. So she's just basically always coming, and her willingness is, incredible and inspires me so much, and to see her growth, and she really shows like it's different every time. So it's beautiful to see that she's there every time, but the retreat is different every time, because we're different and we're in a different yeah, we're going deeper and deeper. And so yeah, it's never the same. So for me, it's also always a surprise what's going to happen. It really depends on the group. And again, with that, I've learned that the less I'm in control, the better these sessions get, and spirit knows exactly what is best for everyone, what everyone can handle. So I always say, like, really, literally, the only thing you truly need is the willingness to heal. And when you have that, then yeah, that's all you need. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Neda.
You're welcome.
It's such a joy and privilege to be in your presence and to experience that the true like heart to heart, open heart, like the music, your own voice cracking you open kind of experience. I want to backpedal a little bit because you mentioned willingness and you mentioned your experience giving workshops in Japan. And I got really emotional listening to that because I've only recently only begun to tap into just how much ancestral trauma and
Yeah.
energy I've been carrying in my body my whole life without even realizing it. And there were so many pieces of my
Beautiful.
own journey where I thought it was like my personal thing that just wouldn't budge. But I've only recently realized the enormity of the collective grief and anger and suppressed emotions that all of like
Sure.
pretty much all of us are carrying in our system from our families, our ancestors, from the collective, and to hear these souls being so willing to do this work and really just like diving into it with both feet, jumping into it with both feet, just really my heart is so full hearing that because I mean Japan really, really needs it. There's not just decades, but like centuries, millennia of suppression and repression that is that can be that can just like come out because it's like the energy is looking for outlets in some like distorted ways. But I think there's so many people who are now ready to just let all that move for the entire collective And the voice liberation can be such a powerful ally in that work. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Again, it's all that's needed is the willingness, you know. I remember that workshop last year, it was sold out like so quickly. And like I said, I barely had to do anything in the workshop except invite them to let their voice be heard, you know, and it was like instantly, it was just like, wow, and this depth, this well of sorrow and grievances and anger and emotions, they all came out, you know. So it's yeah, it's our voice is here like spirit, you know. I feel like yeah, the voice for me, it's such a symbol of who we truly are, of our higher self, of spirit. It's a power, it's for me at least one of the most powerful tools, and it's within us, you know. So even that is such a beautiful symbol that, you know, we don't have to seek outside. We don't even need any other elements or any other items, or you know, we talked about plant medicine, or you know, if you're called to that, then that's all fine, you know, like everything can be used for the spirit, just as everything can be used for the ego, you know. um but I think it's so beautiful with the voice that it's like right inside of us, you know, and that it's just available, and all we have to do is remember how to use it for healing, and also definitely for me the part of coming together, because even by myself, like I do use my voice even by myself, like for instance the voice liberation sigh is what I often do, and what I can even here quickly share, like how nice it is to just really sigh with an open mouth, like when there's just anything through the day, even if it's joy, but usually for when there's like tension, we tend to like sort of like implode and like sort of get like tension and go sort of like store that inside. And instead, like with the voice liberation sigh, it's like yeah, you remember it. It's the first thing that I often teach people in workshops and retreats. So it's a sigh with a very open mouth and maybe a little shake of the body. And so it's not like this frustrating sigh, but it's really a sigh that just gives space. That is like, hey, I see you, you know, whatever it is, it gives space to it so that it doesn't, these emotions don't get suppressed. Um, and there's space to actually look deeper, like, hey, what's this truly about, you know. So I do that all through the day. The people around me are so used to it, and it's so contagious. So most of the people around me are also all day like, ooh, you know, like sighing and shaking. And it's such a nice somatic practice, you know. I recently, a friend of mine even sent me a study that was done. I forget where it was done, but they researched the effects between sighing like this, or like long breaths, or meditation, and they actually saw that sighing had the best effect when it came to regulating your nervous system. And yeah, like I said, it's important that this is like a liberating sigh with an open mouth, that it's not this frustrating ego sigh of, oh, I told you to do this, and oh, you didn't do it, you know, again, well, that's a whole different, that's a sigh of weariness, and yeah, we don't want that. But so even though I do that all through the day, when I come together with people and in workshops, or even in small intimate settings like with my friends, and we hold space for each other, for me it's that's really where the biggest power lies, when there's someone else that can hold space. And I don't know if that's just a personal preference, and there might be people that, you know, are really good with just doing it all by themselves. But this is something I just sent out a survey from the people that were at my retreat. And this is what I keep on getting back from people as well, that it's in the joint mind, you know, of coming together with other people that are willing to awaken, other people that are willing to do the work. um, there's so much power in that, having people hold space and give you permission to really go there and release, and having that witness, while you go through your process. I feel yeah, it's so helpful. And there's definitely things we can do by yourself. And I also do things by myself. But whenever I join with someone, and especially in the retreat where the energy just feels so much more heightened, because people really come for the purpose of releasing whatever does not serve them. The energy, the transformative energy is just so high that things can like very quickly be transmuted and transformed, let go of in ways that I haven't experienced just by myself. So I think that's another thing why these gatherings like that are so powerful, you know?
Yeah, that has 100% been my experience too, that it's
Yeah, right?
exponentially more powerful when you come together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ah, Neda, I would love to hear a little bit about your new album that just recently came out, right? Or has it been
Yeah, it came out, wow, I totally forgot the date, but just a few months ago.
a few months ago? Okay. And it's called Winds of Change.
The winds of change. There were
The Wind,
winds of change.
the Winds
Change.
of
Yes.
Change. What was your
Yeah.
experience like creating this album?
Yeah. So for me, this album was really like almost like a diary of really releasing all that no longer served me. It really, most of it I wrote as I was going through a breakup 3 years ago. Um, so the songs are very much yeah, about releasing, about healing. There's a song, I release all that no longer serves me. There's a song on it called Feel It to Heal It. There's a song that talks about I am worthy, the mantra I am worthy. So there's songs that are more about the undoing and really releasing, and then there's songs about remember, like sort of like the resets. So I am worthy. This is a day of stillness and of peace. There's beautiful Course of Miracles mantras in there. There are songs about resting, about resting and going into that cocoon and just receiving the miracles. There's a song about learning to say no. You mentioned it when we were talking in the beginning, which is a very powerful song about, yeah, learning to say no. That has definitely been a lesson for me. I thought very much so that love was all yes, yes, yes. Love needed to always say yes. And I really had to learn, like, love can also say no, and that can also be very loving. So there's lots of beautiful, beautiful lessons in there. And if you look at my 3 albums, it's funny that only after I shot the third album cover that I realized the sequence of my album covers. And I was like, wow, this is so crazy that on my first album, I don't know if you remember that the cover, I'm standing in front of the water and there's a big moon on the background. And so when I looked at the symbolism back then, all of these covers, they just came to me. I never thought of like, oh, this symbolizes that, this symbolizes that. Like often for me, I just get an image from spirit. I'm like, yeah, cool, let's do that. Like I learned to not even question it anymore because my trust in spirit is now so big that even if I have no idea like why I'm being told to do that, I'm just like, sure, that sounds cool. Like, let's do it. So I didn't even think of like what it all meant, but I just saw like, no, I need to stand in front of the water and there's going to be a big moon in the background. But now when I look at the symbolism, it's like, okay, the big moon, and it's a really huge moon, is a symbol of attraction, right? And the water symbolized the depths, like the emotions, the underworld, like really going into the depth of my mind, looking inward. And so for me, that first album cover really symbolizes the call from the spirit, like come to me. And I was answering that call, and at that time when I released that album, it was exactly what I just told you in the beginning of our talk, where I said yes to spirit. I handed over my voice. Then the second album, I'm literally in the water. So I'm underwater with Remember You're Dreaming. I'm underwater in my dress, and it's, Remember You're Dreaming. So it's so symbolizing. Like, first I was in front of the water, like spirit was calling me in, like, come. Then the second album, I'm in the water, and that album is also very much of being like really being in it, being in the dark night of the soul. Those songs are also really about like really facing the darkness, facing my unconscious guilt. Really, it was at a time in my life that it was all pretty intense, and I was just really on my knees to God, like help me, help me. And those songs very much symbolize this inner journey from from fear to love, from darkness to the light. And there's a beautiful song in there, Lead the Way, where I talk about how I realized that I was never really afraid of fear, but that I was afraid of love, that I was never really afraid of the dark, but that I was afraid of the light. So that's really sort of that chapter of my life. And then now my latest album, the third one, Winds of Change, I'm coming out of the water. So I'm literally like on the beach and my dress is still wet. Like, I literally for this picture went into the ocean with my dress, and I like walked out of the ocean. And this is also a time in my life where, I really felt like I came out of that dark night of the soul. Like, I came out of that resurrection. I came out of that the belief that love is fearful and God is fearful, that I have to fear God. I really came into a much more gentle and peaceful era in my life, where I could finally really accept that God is love, and that God is good, and that I do not have to fear love, and that I can let the love of God fully into my heart. So beautiful symbolism of like coming out of that depth, literally walking out of the water. So now I can only imagine that my next album will be something being completely out of the water, maybe on top of a hill, or I don't know. Or
You'll
maybe
be flying.
maybe I'm not in it anymore. It's just not me. It's just, I don't know. Maybe just a picture of the sun or something. I don't know. But it's yeah, it's beautiful. When I saw it, I was like, oh my God. When I saw all three of them, I was like, oh my, like I never consciously planned it that way. But yeah, it's so beautiful how that works. It makes so much sense that it's so symbolic for the journey. So yeah, Winds of Change. I'm getting great feedback from people saying that it inspires them and helps them, and that's what I really do it for, for like I just love that it can support people on their path, and that it can really be like a dear friend to them, and give comfort and give support and help them to connect with their hearts, and remind them that they're innocent, that they're worthy. So yeah, I'm just always so happy to hear that the music is supporting them. And there's some great For Some Miracles songs on there as well. So I know, of course, nerds will love it as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, Neda, this has been such a joy. I could keep talking to you for hours about all of this, the work you do, the emotions, the feeling, the chorus. Um, where can people listen to your music and how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can listen anywhere they want. If they don't have any streaming platforms, they can also download the music from my website, nedaboin.com. My retreats, my workshops can also be found on my website. There's an events page there. They can find me on Instagram. They can find a lot of free videos as well on YouTube, a lot of free music. So yeah, wherever they feel most attracted to go, yeah, they can find me on some platform there.
Thank you. And I'm feeling inspired to close this show today, close this episode today with one of your songs from your album.
Yay.
And which one of those songs is calling to you right now to share with our listeners today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open for any of the songs. The song that is coming to me now is called Let Love Lead because that's what we talked about. It's like a fun, joyful, very soulful song. Um, yeah, and it's really about putting love in a driver's seat. So it might be a nice, joyful way for people to end and remember to let love lead, you know?
I love that. Okay, so we'll play Neda's song Let Love Lead to close. Any final messages for our listeners, Neda?
My final message is remember to be the happy learner that does not feel guilty for learning. Yeah, there's another song on my new album called You Can't Do It Wrong. I definitely also advise you to listen to that. And that is, that is very much about that. Like, you're already home. You can't do it wrong. Like, be kind, be gentle to yourself. Talk to yourself like you would to your best friend. Remember to, yeah, to have fun with your healing journey as well. Don't be all too serious. Remember to play. I think that's very important.
So perfect. I love that. Thank you so much, Neda.
Thank you so much, sister. So
Thank
nice to be
you.
with you here.
Yeah. So thank you so much for tuning in. Here is Let Love Lead by Neda Boin. Sending you so much love.
I put love in a driver's seat. I will follow wherever she takes me. That's where I need to be. I will follow and let love lead. I will follow and let love lead. I try to do it all by myself. I was too proud to ask for help, but now I see I don't even know what's best for me, so I will follow and let love lead. I put love in a driver's seat. I will follow wherever she takes me. that's where I need to be. I put love in the driver's seat. I will follow wherever she takes me. That's where I need to be. I will follow and let love lead. I will follow and let love lead. Let love lead. Let love lead. Let love lead. Let love lead.
If you enjoyed this episode, I invite you to come check out our Substack at whenwearehealed.com, where you can subscribe to keep in touch and get show notes emailed to you. Sending you lots of love, and I'll see you in the next episode